This was a question in response to our Coming Clean video.
Mm-hmm.
And the person wrote in and said, how can you be sure that your partner won't just freak out and walk away? Or is it better to come clean regardless of what will happen? When shouldn't I come clean? This is Reid from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy from the intimacydojo.com. Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
When shouldn't you come clean?
When your partner's exhausted.
When
or sick.
You're in front of a congressional hearing committee and you need to plead the fifth. I think that probably makes sense.
Yeah, probably is a good time not to come clean.
Yeah.
Talk to your lawyer first.
Talk to your lawyer, yeah. Get some legal representation. We're not lawyers, nor do we play them on the internet.
I think he's talking about with your partner.
Okay.
And one thing I like to do is ask them if it's a good time to talk. Because there are times when, like last night, we were both really tired and we started squabbling.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it probably, if we'd just gotten some sleep and talked about it in the morning, it might have been a lot easier. So
3 a.m. is never a good time to start deep conversation.
No. Especially after working all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So look at, is your partner tired? Look at HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And again, it's not your sole responsibility to have your partner's tanks filled, but it's a good thing to, it's very useful sometimes to check in and see how they're doing. Like if they're exhausted, they're sick, they haven't eaten, they haven't had some social time, or they're just frazzled, it might be a good time. It might be better to wait till another time.
Mm-hmm.
If they are always frazzled and always exhausted and tired and don't put...
Then they're parents.
Yes. But I wouldn't recommend just putting off the talk forever. Like,
Yeah.
Like, even set a time. Like, hey, there's some things that we haven't had a chance to talk about. Can we schedule tomorrow at 7 p.m. while the kids are watching Disney?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever's on at 7 p.m. now.
But think about it from the perspective of if you can't schedule a time to both show up to have big conversations, that's a great indicator that there's an area in your relationship that you both need to work on to be able to get to that place. Nothing's necessarily broken, but over time, not being able to say like, hey, when you get home from work and I get home from work on Wednesday, I'd love for us to make dinner or whatever. And then, there's a couple of things I want to talk about, like just big topics, and you can list the topics. Can we put that on the calendar? Or on Saturday when we're both home, can we put this on the calendar? Mm-hmm. Check in. You can do because if this is like a new thing for everybody and you're trying to get good at it, like create 2 dates. Like we've got Wednesday, Saturday's our fallback, because sometimes, people are dreading the conversations and have, anxiety or just fears, or, something comes up and then you have to move it. So maybe always plan a fallback just to relax your brains and understand it might take a while. And a while, I mean like a month or two of really getting good at this because you're building a new habit.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship and you can't get to those big conversations, that's a really good flag.
Get a coach, get a therapist.
Yeah. And
take a class like Relationship 10X.
Yeah. And then, you might also want to, hire a therapist if you have the financial resources to practice your conversations with somebody who's a committed listener, who's also impartial, who, is not your best friend, who already hates your partner because they've always hated your partner. And how dare they not schedule that date? And it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But you need to have these conversations, I think. And my radical advice, if by having these conversations you realize that you two are not supposed to be together,
find out soon.
That was going to happen 20 years from now anyway, probably.
Yeah.
With you both being much more miserable.
One thing I recommend too is figure out how, use it as an experiment. Say, it can kind of get you out of the trigger. Like, let's watch and see which way is the best way to talk about things. My best friend for a while had a partner that he had to write everything out in an email. So if he wanted to have a conversation, the best way for them was for him to write it out in an email, send it to her, and then a week later they would sit down and talk about it, because she had time to process it and kind of chew on it. Other people
go to her therapist.
Maybe,
right? It's about support, because most of us grew up in families where the parents never talked about anything.
Yeah.
So where do you think your friend or your lover got their skill sets from? Probably they don't have them.
Yeah. So figuring out what way, because different things, some people want to talk about it in person and agree not to leave until it's hashed out. Other people need time to process or cool down, or they read better than they hear. So just kind of paying attention to those things can help the come cleaner.
Yeah. Give it a shot. Let us know, what are your ways to get clarity on having conversations, and when do you think is a bad time to start a conversation?
Yeah, leave comments below.
I mean, obviously, at somebody's funeral, it's like, I've been meaning to talk to you about, no.
Or from stage at the company picnic or something.
A stage from the company picnic. Again, great examples, and over time, you should be able to schedule a time to have the conversations. Great question. Keep those questions coming in.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to my social media, it's right there. And please subscribe to this channel there. If you'd like to see more goofy Reid and Cathy, there's more videos there.
See them. Why are they there?